Iron Man decides to go full dystopian future on San Francisco by creating and bringing in drones to watch the citizens' every move, which leads Daredevil to confront Tony. And this has serious consequences for the man without fear. Now, my name is AJ. I hope you will enjoy this video, and let's get into it. Now, this particular story picks up in issue 4 of Superior Iron Man, where we see Tony Stark going on a talk show to introduce his new Stark security system called Iron Sight. And in his words, it's a network of drone cameras designed to protect the citizens of San Francisco. Now, if you think that's bad enough, he also goes on to explain the database knows your online habits, your movements, and your location, even who you interact with. If you have ever touched a phone or tablet, the Iron Sight drones know exactly who you are, sacrificing the populace's privacy and freedom for control and safety. And I don't even know how a private company like Stark Enterprises can even do something like this, but maybe he pulled some strings with the local government, I don't know. As if you didn't know, Superior Iron Man is kind of twisted and evil. He had his personality and mind inverted during Marvel's Axis event, but as we see the first wave of drones get sent out and fly through the city, one of them spots Daredevil, who is prowling the streets of San Francisco, especially during this time of Tony's reign of terror. And as Daredevil stands there, he thinks to himself, when he was listening to Tony manipulate those people, there was a sound, a wave of sounds, almost inaudible even to him with his enhanced senses, and it's something he has never heard before, and it's connected to the sound of all the people downloading and using Extremis. And finally, after putting 2 and 2 together and destroying one of the Stark drones, he finally understands what Tony's doing. But after destroying the first drone, another one flies up to him. No legal action will be pending at the stage, but a bill has been sent to your home. And what is Daredevil's response to this? To destroy the second one as well. Cutting back over to Tony in the talk show, in the middle of him further explaining what the Iron Sight program is, he suddenly gets a call involving Teen Abomination and S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, you heard me right, Teen Abomination, who is technically not even related to the Hulk villain Abomination in any way except name. But we go over to see what's happening at Stark Island, as S.H.I.E.L.D. has showed up to try and capture Teen Abomination, who is currently under the protection of Stark. And as Tony gets there, he tells everybody to lower their weapons, just as Maria Hill, the current director of S.H.I.E.L.D., comes up to speak to him, as S.H.I.E.L.D. wants to capture and bring Abomination back, as he is technically a wanted fugitive. But Stark says no, don't push this, Maria. Not here, not now. I will embarrass you and your agents. And as S.H.I.E.L.D. folds underneath the threat, Tony walks back in with Teen Abomination, which I guess just goes to show you how much power he has at his disposal to not only elude the local government, but even S.H.I.E.L.D. themselves. But moving over, we now see these two talk about how they're going to move forward, with Tony saying, I'm going to study you, I'm going to work out how you became this, and I'm going to learn from it. And if I can, reverse what's happened. And as he walks off, we see Daredevil enter the room, with Tony immediately asking him if he has come to take up on his offer, as in the previous part we find out that the Extremis app can be used to give Daredevil his eyesight back, albeit temporarily. So Tony then says, okay, if not that, then what? Daredevil goes on to explain that he's heard it. Daredevil, in which I would admit is pretty stupid to just confront him like this with no backup or anything, he goes on to explain that he's heard it. He's heard the trigger, with him further saying, I know what you've done, Tony. Extremis is a virus, and you can't pass a virus from person to person from a phone. The app is a total lie. Now, if you don't remember what the Extremis app is, it's basically an app that anybody can download, and in which downloading and paying for will allow you to customize your very being. So if you want to change the way you look or change any physical attribute, you can, as long as you pay and keep the app going. With Matt further explaining, it's an inaudible digital trigger, inaudible to everyone but me. You see, it activates a virus that's already present within people. You're making people pay for what you've already illegally put inside of them. And with Tony at first denying it, saying, really? How have I done that? You're a lawyer, Matt. Do you have any proof of this, or is this just wild theories? Daredevil then explains how he thinks he's done it, saying, I know where to find the proof. It's why you're in San Francisco in the first place, because San Francisco banned the sale of bottled water, and you've put the virus in the water supply. Which, side note, I looked it up in real life, and yeah, that's a natural fact. You legally cannot buy plastic bottled water in San Francisco. The more you know. Moving back over, we see Tony finally giving in, saying, so what now, Matt? Now I let the FDA know that you've put an untested virus in the water supply, and then you go to jail for a very long time. With Matt putting his hand on his shoulder, escalating things physically. But just before anything can go further, the Teen Abomination rushes out, willing to protect Tony, as Tony has promised to fix him. And in a fit of rage, he punches Daredevil out of the building. And with Daredevil plummeting and falling to his would-be death, Tony says sends out his suit to go and stop him. As the suit flies down, wrapping itself in almost a symbiote-like way around Daredevil, it not only saves him, but imprisons him, with Tony finally getting serious, saying, "I'm done with this game, Matt. You've wasted enough of my time. The frequency of the app you've heard was a mistake, and I'll make sure you never hear it again." And with Daredevil saying, "I've already heard it, you can't undo that," Tony, being the now evil genius that he is, says, "Yes, I can," before closing up the suit and leading him away. As we pick up with Tony in his basement laboratory, we see him stick Daredevil at an operating table, with him even saying, "It's sad, but I am trying to build a better world," in his own twisted vision, and how Daredevil will never share that vision. He is too stubborn, too righteous, and so because he can't see the bigger picture, he's going to start over, before placing some type of technology on his temples, making Matt scream out in pain before passing out. And as Matt finally comes to, he wakes up with an unknown amount of time being passed at a hospital, with no memory or recollection what happened or his discoveries of Stark's evil plan. And with Tony Stark now confident that that problem is now taken care of, he then heads back to Stark Island to attend to the problem he originally had, which would be trying to fix Teen Abomination. And so after getting a blood sample with a little bit of difficulty, he puts it inside of a machine that is designed to pull apart every strand of DNA and search through it to find everything. But he then corrects himself and says, well, not everything. It should tell him what's happening inside of the Teen Abomination, but it isn't going to tell Tony how he turned into this gamma irradiated rage beast. So Tony leads him over to a couch and tells him to start explaining. And so the Teen Abomination's origin was pretty simple, in fact, at least as far as supervillain origins go, but it's revealed that his mother worked at Stark Industries. And so one day as she brought her child to work, as she couldn't get a sitter, and this was the day of a big project reveal, he sits right next to her and the other scientists as they go through with this experiment. And as they go to activate the machine, something goes terribly wrong, as most things do in origin stories, and it explodes. But fortunately enough, him and his mother survived. Now you see, Tony Stark was actually supposed to be there at that experiment 8 years ago, but he even says himself that he has trouble remembering those days and reports, as around that time things get a bit hazy, which keep that in mind for later. As we continue, we see specifically what Tony was doing that day. It was the day that the Black Llama returned, and explained and simply put, an interdimensional crazy king with a powerful golden orb. And so with Tony being sent in to handle the situation, he gets blindsided by a villain, and so after effortlessly taking care of the villain, he rushes towards the Black Llama. But the Black Llama uses his golden orb to project his insanity on Tony, in which he says it was nothing like he has ever felt or seen before. But eventually he was able to overcome the psychic hit and send the Black Llama back to his own universe, but it almost killed him in the process. And afterwards his memory gets a little bit hazy, with it completely blanking on him, not being able to remember anything after. And after Tony finishes up telling his story, he still isn't done with the Teen Abomination. Well, after the experiment, you and your mother were still alive, and you weren't a green monster by then, so what are you leaving out? So then the Teen Abomination continues his story, saying how after the lab experiment gone wrong, a couple weeks later, his mom got fired from the job and they fall on hard times. And so that, plus him getting bullied by other kids, all built up inside of him till one day he just snaps, letting the rage take over, completely hulking out and transforming into the Teen Abomination, wrecking and destroying their home, and in the process, killing his mother. And so after explaining the story, Tony says, well, yep, that pretty much explains why you haven't changed back. If your transformation is brought on by anger, well, you're going to be pretty mad at yourself forever over this, referencing him hurting his own mother. Anyways, cutting over, we see that the machine is finally done processing Teen Abomination's blood. And as Tony looks at the results, it leaves him dumbfounded, as it turns out his father is Happy Hogan, who at this point in time was dead, but that's, besides the point. Tony then comes to a realization that this kid right here is the son of one of the few people he actually cared about, and so he makes a decision to actually help him now, instead of before helping him just purely on seeing if he can profit from it. Which just goes to show you, even though his morals are twisted in the wrong place, he isn't completely evil and still has some empathy. Later though, after dismissing Teen Abomination, Tony heads down to his secret office with a bottle in hand, as he is drinking again now. He then talks to his computer, saying to access armor camera footage from 8 years ago, December 13th, in which it responds that there is no footage found and any video on December 13th has been deleted. And with this catching Tony's curiosity, he then tries to access all Stark footage from December 13th, 8 years ago, in which again, it replies that no footage has been found, multiple files have been deleted from the main drives and cloud servers. And Tony finally puts it together. He's lost time. Someone, some entity, something has taken a full day from him. And who could have done something like that, and why? Well, that is a question that Tony himself is going to try to find out, and we will too next time as this video comes to a close. But yeah, what do you think about this video or the Superior Iron Man issue so far? Make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments. If you're new, make sure to subscribe and like, or even put post notifications on so you know whenever we upload a new video. As always, thank you for watching.